Hello, everyone. Welcome back to First Listen Media. Today, I am with the band Vinylhero. What's up, guys?
Hey.
Hello.
What's up?
How you guys doing tonight?
Amazing. We have a little bit of chocolate to be able to support the nice weather we got in Montreal.
Ain't that the truth? We just got hit with a storm here, so I'm like just waiting for the power to get cut later tonight.
Parking wasn't too much of a hazard this time, so what? This is good stuff all around.
All right, let's get started. When did this band begin?
Oh, yes, that's the hard one.
I hate when they ask.
I hate when they ask the hard one. Let's go with this lineup and say 2014.
Wow, you guys been around for a while then.
Well, me and him even longer. Like
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure like he and I were around like when there was Kings of the Stone Age, probably. I don't know.
Oh my god, I love that band.
Yeah.
I fucking love Queens of the Stone Age.
We do too. No, he and I have been together for forever through various bands and stuff. But this lineup in particular, even through the two stints as a four-piece since 2014.
Nice. What inspired the band name?
Oh man, okay. There's like 8 different mythologies about this. Like everybody within even between the three of us, and then there's like 4 of our friends that all have. It's like, yeah, but remember that time, dude?
Yeah, but it's because we were all drunk then, so nobody really remembers how it happened.
Yeah.
Okay.
We were hanging out with a bunch of friends, former band members, buddies, whatever. And we were just thinking about a new name. We had to think of a band name and whatnot. I don't really remember who said it, but somebody said, Vinyl Hero or Vinyl Heroes, and we're like, just like, yeah, whatever, man. And then we were still thinking of names to go about and think like, what can we do? And then all I knew is that I was like, you know what, Vinyl Heroes would be like a really good yeah. So I'm gonna step in here. No, I'm kidding. Would be like like a cool like album title or something. He's like, yeah, totally. And then he was hanging out with one of those same friends, but in sobriety at that moment. Said, why don't you just drop the S and call it Vinyl Hero, make it the band name? And we were like, yep. So we were just like, all right, F that noise. That sounds like it's small. So, but to be fair, when he did join the band, because there was like an iteration in a lineup of Vinyl Hero like since 2007, let's say. So in 2014, when he joined, my main inclination was like, well, we don't sound like we used to, so like we got to change the name. And we argued about this for about 2 weeks, just me and him. We're just going back and forth on the phone and calling each other, and we meet up before practices or whatever. We got to change the name of the band. I was like all for changing the name of the band. He was against changing the name of the band. And when it got down to it, was just being lazy. We're like, it sounds cool. So like, we kept it.
Yeah. No.
But here we are.
No, I think when we had those arguments, I got an email from a producer for a show that they want to book us, and they're like, oh, I really want Vinyl Hero. And I'm like, you see,
yeah.
It still works, and then we just stuck with it from that point on.
So being in demand and lazy at the same time, just a beautiful synergy, and there you go.
What's it like playing shows for you guys? Like, what's the energy like?
Wow. That's at least for Costa and I, that's probably a kind of a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like when you see Costa in real life, is like an easygoing, kind of friendly with everybody. I'm quiet also, not too much talkative and stuff. But I mean, from my point of view, when I see Costa on stage, it's like a totally different animal. It's like a sweaty beast.
Mm.
I get the drops of sweat all over my face, and until I'm 15 feet away.
Especially when he does like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he does the whole swinging his head back, like what he's got his almost looks like like a cool version of Kip Winger, and he's just like, yeah. and like sweat just goes.
It's different for Ray. He's always on stage. I mean, every day he's on stage, so it doesn't change too much.
I'm on stage right now. You wouldn't even know.
Damn. I love that response.
The live aspect that we have and the energy that we give is really actually up until like it's up to the song. Whatever song we're playing, that's the kind of energy we're giving, and it's always different every time. We could be really energetic. We could be really like laid back. It really plays with what we're playing. So you're always getting something different every time.
Yeah. But the moment we play, it could be in front of 10 people or 2,000.
It's the same.
Doesn't make a difference.
Yeah.
What
Same
is
show.
the what show did you enjoy playing at the most?
Voodoo 2018. Could that be the one?
You mean like like of like the last little bit or
anything in general?
Oh, Voodoo was amazing. For me.
I think it was our first gig with him and our old guitar player. Because it was for like a competition. It was like for like a battle of bands or whatever. And that was like our second gig ever, like as a 4-piece. And especially with 2 guitars, because the previous version of a 4-piece was a keyboard now. You can still find some of the songs, I promise. But our second gig was for like a battle of bands, and like we just walked in there and just like, just that moment, it's like, no, this is gonna stick. I like this. This is gonna work.
We were cocky.
Yeah, we were kind of cocky, but it paid off because like we took second place and then went to the next level, and it was just like. So that was pretty cool. But of recent, I do have to admit, like we dropped our recent single, Ego Trip, which I'm assuming is part of the questioning at some point later on.
Yeah.
I really wanted to stream our show on Friday, but I think just due to circumstance and just being tired, and there were certain things that we were just like, we're just gonna not talk about that and move on to other things. So I really wanted to stream the show from a couple of our platforms. I really wish I had, because there was some that was really beautiful to me. I don't know if you guys can catch it.
Yes.
But for our promos, because we like being funny, or at least attempt being funny, for our promotional material in the very least of things. And so since we've done that whole thing with the whole like people like me running in like a parking lot and being an airplane or whatever, while we were playing Ego Trip, we had a bunch of returning fans from Ottawa who drove up to Kingston. They were there. They were like, look, it's a double hitter for us. It's like, you guys are playing tonight. There's a band called Playing Tammy Sari the next night. We're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. We're winning either way, kind of thing, right? But still, like, we're from Montreal. To have them drive almost the same amount of distance to come see us play in a different town, and not even their town, is like really, really, big for us. And not only that, all of them were just doing the airplane thing and just swinging around running like psychos in a circle. I was just like, I'm just so damn proud. So between our second gig together as a 4-piece, like with Scenes and Dog Ears, like 50 years ago, and last Friday, because that was just huge to me. It's like something we did that was a joke being done back to us. I'm gonna stop talking.
That's beautiful. I love that. It's everyone doing the playing. Dude, that's just like that's true fans right there.
That's right. Actually, we had people who had tickets to go see July Talk, and they saw us play the first time about 2 months ago in Kingston. They were like, "Look, we saw you play at the festival this summer. We saw you now. It's like we're just gonna sell our tickets for July Talk because you're the better show." So when you're getting comments, yeah, dude, like. And it's not like I'm not crapping on July Talk or anything like that, but when you're getting comments like that, when everything we've done, attempted, proceeded with, further, has been just the 3 of us going like, let's throw something against the wall and see if it sticks. pretty cool. So, you know, favorite shows aside, man, this year's been something. This whole situation's been somewhat of a weird blessing. I'm like, just like, holy crap, thank you. So,
Dude, that's beautiful, man. That when you get a compliment like that, you know you're doing the right thing. That's great.
That's how it feels, at least.
I swear, I'm gonna have to drive up to see you guys one of these days. I'm gonna have to drive all the way from Connecticut up to where you guys at again? I forgot.
Montreal.
Montreal. Okay, I gotta go from Connecticut to Montreal. Yes.
Chief, look, if you can make enough noise for us in the next year, you can vouch for get somebody else to help us vouch for a working visa. We're in Connecticut, bro. Like that's.
I'll do what I can because I would love to see you guys live. That'd be like dream come true for me.
And like Keith Richards' house is over there. You know for a fact I'm a fan. So I'm just saying it's just
no promises, but I'll do what I can. All right, my next question is, what is your music writing process?
You know those neighbors always arguing, but still in love after 20 years?
Yep.
Much the same thing.
Yeah, I think so.
It's a little bit of sweat, a little bit of blood, a little bit of we call it tears.
X-Lax, Prozac.
What would generally happen is that Ray walks into the room, guys, I got a riff, and he'll play the riff, and he'll play the hooks and then the parts. So we'll jam it out. He leaves. I stay with him, and we rework all those parts. The next day, we get a mix by him with flutes and horns and synthesizers. No, I'm joking. But we're gonna
things not in a 3-piece band.
Yeah, exactly. Like we kind of like expose the box more than we want to. We collapse it back to where it began, and then we take it from there to really see like what kind of limits we can hit with whatever we started with, and then work it from there.
Yeah.
All right.
I want to do it like 60%, 70%. They're like, it's really cool. We'll jam it out and get like at least like like a bowl done and like tape it or whatever. 2 days later, he's sending a mix. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And he's like, it's like, oh, dude, that was the song you brought in.
Yeah, it's like Ray shows up with a Rubik's Cube with the wrong colors showing, and you have to figure it out. Like,
but then he only puts 2 colors together, and then the other 6 sides are like still like. So and then like pretty much like he said, like it's that couple that has to argue like through the walls for like the other sides of the Rubik's Cube to come together before the makeup sex is fantastic. So.
Yeah, I think you got it.
I love that. That is the most creative response I've ever had on my show. I love it. All right.
Probably to answer to your previous question, being on stage is the makeup sex process.
It's sloppy, it's sweaty, but it works.
Gee, you think
it's dirty, but it's amazing.
If you think these answers are interesting, you should hear it during a marketing meeting. Woo!
I can imagine. All right, my next question is, I'm going to ask about 2 songs here. What was the lyrical process behind Vultures?
Oh.
Weren't you watching
okay.
Vampire?
Yeah.
The Carpenter? What was his name?
Vampire there?
No, man. Something, the director. Something Carpenter.
John Carpenter?
Yeah? Weren't you watching that?
Okay, there was... Hang on. Okay, there was... It was a cross between 3 things because there was a lot going on with politics just in North America in general at the time. There was... The title came from one thing, and then the lyrical content versus what it's about came from a different thing. So the title was... I think my kids were watching like a Bugs Bunny cartoon or something. Like some animated thing where like there was like a vulture that just shows up kind of, and always, vultures always depicted as bad guys kind of. And so I was like, whatever, that's cool. And throughout that week or whatever, we just finished like getting the music tight. I was just like, I got an idea for a melody, but I'm like, I'm not finding the And there was the whole thing with his Trumpliness going on, and you know, everybody was ragging on our prime minister and everything. So like we were just like, I was just watching this all go down. It's like all you're doing is just waiting around to see who's still standing or who hasn't been made fun of or complaining about being made fun of or some BS like that. And so on and so forth. I don't know if you watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Okay, best character on that show, the Vulture, of course. And like the same day, I hadn't listened to it in like 3 years. I had the album of Them Crooked Vultures, and I was like, oh man, this was so fucking cool. I was looking at the artwork, and I was like, all right, cool. Put it down, and then like just went to like work on the song a bit, and I was just like, okay, I'm gonna call the song Vultures. Yes, okay, fuck, I got the title. So I'm like, right. I don't know anything about birds. So I actually like went on like Wikipedia for like 3 days straight in like 2-hour spurts, just like reading like about fucking birds, man. Okay, literally about reading about vultures, the different kind of old world vultures and new world vultures and stuff like that. But I was looking for like keywords, right? Because like I could be stumped for lyrics. He could be like, you know, talk about like how the boat ran into the rocks, and then like 3 days later we got all the lyrics. You know, it's always that one little spark that gets you going. That there's some that like it's just that some like I've worked on lyrics for like 6 years. I'm still not done. Like when we get in that song, I don't know how's 2027 looking. So like it just depends on the flow we're at. But like we were super, you know, the music alone. Like I just love playing that riff. I love playing that chorus. I like playing those lead lines. It's like I just love the way that song sounds, man. Like we worked really hard on that one. Like in it, I think it shows. But like I wanted the lyrics to be just as like interesting or as badass as the music is, right? And then like you get into the words, which is where like our promo videos came from, where you know it's like, okay, well the kettle in, you know, bird terms is like, you know, a group of vultures taking flight, and I'm like, that's awesome. So they open, you know, the kettle lands, and it's like, I don't want people to think I'm throwing a boiling pot of water like we amply made a joke about, you know what I'm saying? But I needed it to reflect something that was like, what's going on kind of thing. So like my old world vultures are virtually like, sorry, or like in that kind of state of like, you know, like just like everything has to be war and bad, and it's just like, okay, cool. And like that, if that's your prerogative, that's fine. But like the message in the song is, while you're doing that, all we're doing is just waiting around to see what happens.
I love that.
So yeah.
Main reason I wanted to ask about that song is because that song is on my favorite 10 list, and it's been a favorite song of mine for quite a while.
Thanks.
The melody, the lyrics, I just love the whole thing.
Nice, man. Thank you.
Now let's talk about your new song, Ego Trip. Tell me a bit about that one.
Can someone else start? Okay.
Well, you wrote the damn lyrics.
I did. Ego Trip is like really just about kind of like that famous person, or just anybody having like that self-confession, you know, like the whole like, yeah, but you're not as cool as you think you are. You're not as fucking awesome as everybody believes you are, and stuff like that.
Do you?
I do. You know, you see me cry in the shower. So it's really like like an internal hate of your own vanity kind of thing, right? Like the chorus says, you know, the light that I'm beaming, like everything I'm showing you is like just BS. And yeah, and like that was just where we ran with it. And also like I'm a huge movie buff. If that wasn't apparent. But like I'm a really big, you know, like even within the context of that song, like, you know, there's even like I ripped a line from Pulp Fiction, you know, it's like you feel that sting, what happens when pride's in the way. Like totally ripped Pulp Fiction off for that one, right? Like it's also my favorite movie, but still. And it's kind of like a spiritual sequel or a musical cousin to, let's say, from our last batch of songs, real TV, right? Where like it's all about like, you know, like that famous guy who loses his shit, who loses everything kind of thing, and dealing with like, well, dude, in real life, you know, the bad guy loses. In real life, the bad guy wins sometimes, you know, like the good guy dies. Like that's the point. So I always kind of keep in mind where like even Vultures is kind of like a Sonic sequel to like Keith Richards. Like I was just like, all right, well, what worked with Keith Richards? And like, not to say that I want to reproduce the same thing. I want to make like, you know, I want to take the blueprint that was just like, I liked how that sound, but I don't want to sound like the same thing. So what can I do differently and kind of keep I always dabble in those kind of places until we like come up with something that's like, well, this is totally different, and then build off that for future reference. And virtually musically, as far as the guitar goes, I took every classic rock trick I had in my bag and I just threw it at one song. Like music, as far as the guitar playing on that, like they really do something really cool. Like I just went like, hey, here's a little Bon Jovi, a little Aerosmith there, I got a Guns N' Roses trick there, and whatever, and just like.
But it's funny.
And I have fun doing it.
It's funny going back to like your question earlier about like how we write songs. Keith Richards should have been the answer, because when we wrote Keith Richards was part of our 2016 EP, right? And out of the 5 songs on that EP, Keith Richards was the banger. Everyone loved it. There were a couple of radio stations that were premiering it and whatever. So when we were writing Vultures, I remember at one point, I think you even said it. You're like, I want this song to be like Keith Richards, but how do we make it better? And then the next song was whatever, like Ego Trip, and the next one would be yada yada yada. So that's like our template as far as we got a maximum like response from it, why and how, and then how do we make it better? So that's added to the process of our writing.
I mean, from what I've heard so far, it's been working out really well because I've loved everything I've heard.
Nice.
Yep. Like, there's always a band who always has that one song that doesn't really play well, but I've not heard that yet at all with any of your songs. I've loved like every single one I've heard. So,
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. My next question is, who would you love to collaborate with, whether it be on stage, in the studio? Sky's the limit.
Woo! Dr. fucking Dre.
Oh man, that's
Dr. Dre. Like that. Like we made that joke.
Oh
yeah, we made like we actually. It's funny you say that because wasn't it last week that I made
Friday? We're talking about Friday.
On Friday, yeah, on Friday.
We're at an en route talking about this
in the van on the way to the show. And we're like, you know, like I'm like, well, what if Drake would have like recorded one of our songs, produced or whatever, and like collaborated, whatever. And then Ray's like, so what? And I'm like, yeah, what about Dr. Dre? He's like, I would love Dr. Dre to be on just that. Like, who would have thought it? Like, who would have thunk it? And it's funny how we say that, but then if you wind back in time, you had like Aerosmith and Run DMC collaborating, right?
Yeah.
It seems weird, but fuck, I would love to try that out, just to see like, what would come out of it.
I don't know. Okay, let's say there's a trifecta of producers, and you have Dr. Dre teaming up with let's say Doug Pinnick and Josh Homme. That'd be great.
Oh yeah,
I wouldn't mind.
That would be sick.
Yeah. As far as a production thing, I'd really love to have like Dr. Dre as a producer for an album. Like him and Bob Rock Bob Rock is a no-brainer, right? Because it's Bob Rock. It's in the name. Like whatever he touches usually sounds good. So like you can't say no to that shit. Yeah, Garth Richardson would be awesome. But as far as and I don't mean this in like a whole like deflating way. Those would be like obvious choices for us. We're a rock band. But Dr. Dre knows how to go get some frequencies and low end that are just unheard of. And especially being a 3-piece, we're like, we pride ourselves on like, okay, well, his end and like what I do and the balance of both, and especially doing our best to reproduce it live. 2, we're very efficient in the studio on our own. Like we can mic ourselves. Dre would like literally have to just show up, take it in and embrace and like, just like, all right, press record, son, go for it. You know, like that's, and I would just, and also his ears, his take on it, because we're not a hip hop act. We're not a pop act. We're not the singer songwriter act. It's like, it's a full out rock band. You know, as far as a collaborating, it would be between The Weeknd and Dua Lipa.
Yeah, I see that.
Just because The Weeknd, you know, I'm from Ontario, he's from Toronto. It's like, I feel it, you know, and also he's like the Canadian Michael Jackson. I'm just like, one day they will recognize. He's great. I love his stuff. He's great. Dua Lipa, I think, has like a really cool disco thing to her sound, especially with like all the funk guitar and the funk bass lines. And I've seen a couple of her live videos on YouTube where like she actually has a backing band. So I have mad respect for that. And as far as like just like a little like personal, I would love to be able to do it, be the backing band for, and as far as a collaboration backing band, do it for Chris Stapleton.
Oh.
Like do like a real country rock album with Chris Stapleton would just be like the kitten's tits, man. Like that'd be awesome.
That probably sounded really good too. Like the mix would be perfect.
Yeah. Also, like I'd have to stand on the riser because he's like a mountain of a man. So, but yeah, no, I think that as far as a collaborate, just to be outside of our box, because there's a lot of rock acts I would love to work with. You know, like if Velvet Revolver goes like, yo, we're looking for a new singer, I'm running to audition. I really will. Like I'll, you know, totally. There's like tons of my guitar heroes, or even like other musicians I love. Like I play a bit of drums, I play a bit of bass, and as much as I love these guys, it's like, yeah, man, if I could ever get like, you know, like a 15-minute set with Tommy Lee playing drums and like Billy Sheehan on bass, like, you know, life's kind of complete. You know, something like that. But those wouldn't be somewhat of a challenge, and they wouldn't be probably, I don't want to say like not as fulfilling, but to work with people outside of what we do makes for far more interesting bedfellows and like way more interesting music. And as far as an accomplishment of like what comes out of that collaboration, comes out much differently. Like a rock band with Dr. Dre, he's never done it. Like it would just like, I think it would just be like absolutely insane.
Oh, it would be. I could imagine how good that sound too. All right. My next question is, what is the best piece of advice you could give to your listeners and fellow musicians?
Advice, really? Are we in that position?
Well, yeah.
Throwing shit to the wall and hoping it sticks is not for everybody.
Oh. IPA goes really well with chocolate.
One advice that I can give is like, be like, obviously practice your craft, you know, get better at what you do, but try to work just as hard on getting yourself noticed online and being around that online community, because that's the new wave, right? So to get a chance to kind of get showcased or whatever, like you gotta be like on it 24/7. It's tedious. It's a hard job, but like, you know, if you can work the social medias, man. I mean, with a good product, of course, you can make some waves happen. You know, for sure.
Yeah. I'd say if you want to go and think long term, just don't be an asshole. Because of course, if you're like cocky and shit, you have the attitude, you can make bigger things happening on the short term. But if you want to be still standing on the long term, you have to be on the nicer side.
Yeah. And again, it's
you can be Canadian and an asshole. There are plenty of those.
We can introduce you, I promise.
That's unheard of.
Unapologetic Canadians. Oh man.
Yeah, apologize. You apologize.
You apologize.
Honestly, be as honest. Like honestly, advice. That's well, it's a different piece of advice, right? Because to the listeners, it's just like to the listeners and the people that appreciate like us and other indie bands and ones that are on the rise and ones that are trying, struggling, and whatever. Give them a follow on everything, because honestly, you're on your phone anyway. Like I'm really not trying to sound like a prick saying this, but like you're on your phone anyway. The literal 3.5 minutes it would take to follow, subscribe, or hit a download on a song or whatever, 3 minutes on every platform of any band that you can think of furthers that one more that one more whatever, furthers that band at least one more day, even if it's just one, as stupid as it sounds, because just that one person liking everything on one platform or downloading a song, or like that's how bands survive, like there's it makes no sense to me where everybody's just like, oh well, those bands deserve to be bigger. It's like, it's up to you. You know what I mean? It's like, I want to see that band succeed. Show up and buy a ticket, get a t-shirt, take a selfie with them, something, right? Because the double standard of just and there's memes all over Facebook and every social platform for that as well. It's like, it's like, what happens when you pay for music? What happens when you don't pay for music? Well, it's like, has anybody gotten the memo yet? And I guarantee if you go out, there are tons and tons of unsigned and undiscovered musicians out there, and I know you know this, but like, to your listener, to the listeners and stuff, that are phenomenal musicians or phenomenal singers, or if it's instrumental or whatever it is, right? If like you really want to see these people succeed, they're not even asking you for money. Stream their music, subscribe to them on YouTube, follow them on Facebook. It's like, it's literally that simple. That costs absolutely nothing but 3 minutes of one span of 10 minutes in your day for like the next for the rest of your life. That's it. You subscribe to the Spotify thing. Anytime they get a new song, guess what happens? You get it. You're helping their streams automatically. Like, it's literally that simple. You know what I'm saying? And as far as to other musicians out there, like the not being an asshole thing is like pretty number one, because you encounter a lot of them.
Even though I kind of like it now.
Yeah. Especially when they haven't. If I may, and that kind of makes me an a-hole saying this, but I love this part because this is part of the lessons that I have learned. I really, really love it when they're kind of a-holes to us and they haven't seen us play yet. I don't assume anything. I don't walk into any place going like, I know we're the better band, we're the guys. They're beyond anything. We're musicians first. Like, he and I are lifers. We earn the other side of our livings and pretty much all of our livings within the spans of the music industry. Yeah, 50. We love him anyway. I love him. So we've seen, and for as long as we've been together and doing this, like we've seen everything. Like I've yet to see anything that will like really. Sometimes the depravity of some people will go really, really far, and you would just be like, wow, that's impressive. But on the other hand, there's nothing I haven't seen. So one, like the a-hole thing is like a massive thing. It's just like, people need to understand. It's like, you're all part of the same, you're all trying to do the same thing. And where a lot of people haven't comprehended one thing right now is that unless you're like in the top 10 of the biggest rock bands on the planet, number one, everybody else has a side hustle. They all do. Number two, within that mentality, there's somebody that's eager enough to kick you out of your spot and take it, and probably has enough talent, enough like piss and vinegar to do it too. Don't be an asshole. Like that's and also lastly, the most important thing, it takes a lot more. Especially if you want to take a crowd, and this is for the musicians that are like, well, the crowd's unresponsive, and it's like, always remember, you're there for them. They're not there for you. As much as they bought a ticket to see your band play or their friend's band play, and apparently you're not bad, so I'll stick around or whatever, right? And that's usually how it goes. So, I mean, if you're playing on the same bill as my friend, you can't be crappy. Like, you must be a good band, right? Like, that's what people, especially now since, lockdowns are like in flux at the moment, I guess. So when people are buying tickets, it's just like, well, cool, it cost me $10. There's 3 bands. They're like, 2 of them at least out of 3 got to be good, right? Well, you got to maintain that those people bought a ticket, but they're there to be entertained. You're their entertainment. I don't care if you're singing me Seal songs. I don't care if you're going to sit there with an acoustic guitar and be the next Jewel or whatever. Connect with your crowd. Whatever it is that you do to figure out to connect with your crowd, that's what's going to help you take a crowd. Because people want to be entertained. And the person and the group and the band and the people and the artist, the singer, the comedian, the whatever, the ones that entertain them the most, that's who they're going to belong to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely amazing answer.
It's a lot more than just playing your instrument and looking cute on stage to do this properly. And I don't mean the cute thing in a derogatory way. I just mean, like, everybody always like, I'll do my hair and I'll quap on and put it best and, like, trim my, like, he shaves his head while we're driving to a gig. We don't, like, we show up with it. Is it clean? Cool, fuck it, put it on.
Yeah, but that's actually something that we suffered with in the earlier stages when we used to perform. Like, we would just go up, okay, this song's called whatever, then boom, 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 boom. Next song's called whatever, and just run through the songs like a garage band. But then we took the whole performance part of it seriously. We'd even have like a Bristol board with the set list, and in between the songs, who's doing what, who's saying what, the lights, like
who's rubbing nipples. It's very, very
lighting
complex.
sequences and stage props and everything. Like, what he's saying is absolutely right. Like, nowadays, it's not even about. And I know it's weird for me to say this. It's not even about how great your music is, as much as it is how great your show is. Because if your live show is balls out amazing, hey man, they're gonna buy your CD anyways because they're like, oh, I saw these guys, and when they come back again, we're coming again, and that's how it rolls. If you have great music, even better. You understand? So, it's part of the game, and you gotta learn it, and you gotta play it good. Yep.
I've never heard such like in-depth responses before like this. This is the first. This is amazing.
Sorry, it's Monday.
It's only Monday.
Only my ass. This has been amazing.
That's amazing. Thanks, man.
All right, my next question. What's up? What do you say?
Wait till the book comes out.
All right. My next question is, what is next for Vinyl Hero?
More. Just more.
Yeah.
More. We still have of this batch of songs. We still have 2 more that we're getting ready to unleash on everybody throughout the earlier stages of 2022. Whatever we did throughout the end of August up until, I don't want to count next week because it's a home gig and it's the only home gig we're playing, but like, let's say up until last Friday, everything we've done throughout that, our highways, the Ontario highways, the 401. So like everything we did across that 401 tour paid off in like some really good ways. I mean, we got onto another FM radio as a mainstay. He's like Uncle Chris now. So like, we're just like, yes, sir, whatever you need, buddy. We gained fans that like handful of them were either hired to be the photographer at the festival and her boyfriend and some fans, and then when they started following us from there, and then when they saw we were playing Ottawa, they'd show up in Ottawa. We're like, okay, shit. It's like, what are you doing here? And he came, it's like, no, we came to see you. It was like, man, I can't even get my cousin to do that. Holy crap. Okay. And then we played Kingston once, and then we had people from the festival that we hadn't seen in like 4 months' time. They're like, hey, I'm like, oh, you're here to see Godthorn? It's like, no, we're here for you guys. We're like, what the hell is going on? So, and because for us, I mean, for as long as we're doing it, it's just we went out going, and again, we went just balls, right? And then, like, we had no guarantees. We weren't sure if we were getting a door deal. We weren't sure if we were going to like make money out of.
We just took whatever we got.
Anything, right? And on a side note, the whole money thing, everybody's like, well, you think you're a sellout? Or it's like, no, man, if this is what you want to do for a living, you kind of have to make a living. Right?
Yeah.
So, like, at this point, it's like, man, if we can like pay off t-shirts and like rent in the studio, it's like gold.
I'll buy a t-shirt.
So, like, so as far as 2022, what's next? We got 2 more songs that like are locked up and being mixed and mastered within the next near future that we're aching to show people, because it's kind of even like a bit of a different sound for us. Like, one's a bit more country and one is literally like a nightmare. So like, it's a completely different ball game than like, let's say Vultures or our version of Sledgehammer or Ego Trip. It's still us. It sounds like us. It's just like, shit. Okay, that's kind of awesome, and that's what we're aiming for.
I'm really excited to hear that.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to tell people about it. It's great. It's great. And we're still constantly writing or grabbing old songs we haven't played in 100 years and just kind of making them better and demoing and editing music videos, stuff like that, and just
yeah, this is a background process by now. But well, as right now, we're mainly promoting the last single. And as we're doing this, we're preparing the recording of the next one, the release. Like, so everything's overlapping. So we have so many different tasks that don't even involve music instruments. So that's it's overwhelming sometimes. But a release, a recording, spend a couple of days on the computer, talk to people, try to tell them that you're the best show ever. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Fun times.
That's great. I cannot wait to hear those new songs. I'm super excited.
Us too.
All right. My final question is, do you have any questions for me?
What are your favorite bands growing up?
Okay. Currents, Sunsinger, vinylhero, Aerosmith. Let's see what else.
Nice.
Antenna. There's a whole bunch, but those are like my top 5.
Wow. Nice. Great.
Man, I'm so humbled. I got no problem showing you my bald spot. That's pretty cool.
Anyone else?
He told us he told us about the interview, and then like I assume, I'm like, again, I made an ass of you and me. I assumed you were from, at the very least, Canada. How did you hear about us in Connecticut?
Honestly, just going through YouTube, because you know how they put those music lists together. That's how I found Vultures, and I was like, holy shit, this is amazing. And then when I started this up, I'm like, you know what? I gotta ask him. I have to. So I sent out a message, and I'm like, woo!
Nice. Well, that's YouTube. Hey, man.
Yeah, you'd be surprised what you can find on there.
No, no, I'm not really surprised.
We know we're on it.
All right. Any other questions?
Do you play an instrument yourself?
I'm trying to. Like, I really want to get into guitar. I just have to save up enough money to actually buy one.
Yeah.
But yeah, once I do that, I'm gonna definitely start trying to put a band of my own together. because I already write lyrics as it is. So I'm hoping to bring those to life.
I know this will sound like a cliche. Start with an acoustic guitar, because if you already have like look, bottom line, if you can play your songs entirely with just an acoustic guitar,
get both.
Yeah,
I'd be like, go for broke and just buy two. Like, just buy an acoustic and an electric and a little amp.
Yeah, good thing is I already got one at home, so I've been practicing on that. I'm just saving up for an electric so I can go from there.
Nice, good.
Nice one.
All right.
Anyone else? Any other questions for me?
No, not really.
What are your goals as far as this? Like, where do you see yourself next year?
Well, my goal is to help as many musicians as I can. That is my biggest reason for even starting this, because music got me out of, metal and rock got me out of a very deep suicidal depression. And I've wanted to give back ever since. So I just started this up after I recovered, and I just want to help as many bands as humanly possible. That's my end goal.
Whoa, that's so amazing.
That's awesome. It really is.
I appreciate hearing that, because doing this for me, it's like therapeutic in a way, because a lot of the people you work with go through similar stuff at times. Like, music has gotten them out of it too. So being a part of that community has been really helpful for me. And I just want to keep this going as long as I can.
Well, you know what? I remember I did an interview, a solo interview for vinylhero last year, and one of the questions were back to what you said, like advice for musicians in the same scenario that I'm in. And but I just blanked out before when you asked the question, but I remember it now. One of the answers that I gave was, you gotta love what you're doing, right? So what you're doing right now and all the emotion, the passion that you're putting into it, by doing that, others that are receiving it are going to feel it too. Because if you love what you do, it doesn't matter how many times you try it, how many hacks you take at it, you're going to succeed eventually. It doesn't necessarily mean financially or status wise, but as long as you're happy. Like on Friday, we drove from Montreal. We did a 3.5 hour drive. We went into Kingston. We played the show. We finished at 3 a.m, drove back. It's 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to bed. I'm waking up for my 9 to 5 the next day. And I feel great, right? Because I love doing what I'm doing, right? So as long as you can keep that positive energy going throughout anything you plan in your life, it'll be a success for sure.
That's how I feel every day doing it. It's like I've never regretted a single episode I've done. Like, my goal is to, like I said, keep doing this for as long as I can, help as many artists as possible. Like, I love to make this my living, yeah, but for one reason, so I can keep focusing on it without any distractions. That would be my primary reason for trying to make that a living. But
be like the Joe Rogan of rock and metal, bro.
Be
like the Joe Rogan of rock and metal.
That's what I'm trying to do. But yeah, this brings me so much joy. Like, I couldn't see myself doing anything else.
Amazing.
Trust us, the feeling is mutual.
I'm glad.
Yeah, no, dude, like that's awesome. And especially there is an ultimate amount of joy, and it takes and also like the other side too, like on your end, right? Like, it takes a lot to, like, you don't get paid for this. You have to do the and trust me, we know all about the snail crawl to grow your rep and your fan base, and then finally monetize, and like, oh look, we sold it, and it grows and it grows and grows. Man, it takes a lot of energy, balls, chutzpah, whatever you want to shake a stick at, man. It takes a lot, as you know, like on your behalf, it takes a lot to, like, keep getting up all the time, finding an independent band you like, reaching out to them, because again, remember the number one rule: a-holes. So, and a lot of times it's just like, you know, and forgive me, I mean this nowhere near, is because you're not Kerrang, or I don't know who's a hip podcaster for music.
Neither do I.
Right? Okay. But You know, they might look at the fact that it's like, well, you didn't interview anybody that I've never heard of. It's like, asshole, no one's ever heard of you either. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So like, dude, like, awesome on you for like continuing to do that. And like,
Sure.
we're super happy you reached out. We're more than happy to. Like, I'm more than happy to talk about it. And on top of that, everybody just lets me talk for some retarded reason. It never ends if I do that. They told me, just show up at 9, right? Just show up at 9.
We postponed it for you.
You didn't have to. I told you I could have made a fashionably late entrance. But
that would have been cool too. I'm not gonna lie.
I told you, Ray being on stage, the only difference is that he has a guitar.
and there's
I love it.
the only time I'm a different guy is usually like when I'm at work. That's where it's just like, so
Yeah.
But
This has been a lot of fun.
my job is in the industry, right? So like it's still like yay.
For sure.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, what you said about
you live in?
I'm in a small town called Newington. We're near the Hartford area, and there are quite a few venues that I like to go to where people play a lot. So if you ever come to Connecticut, please do. Let me know, and I'm gonna haul ass there.
Dude,
Nice.
I told you, man. We need
Make us do.
we need about 9. We need 9 months, about that much money and 2 vouchers to be able to get there. But hey, man, we would trust me. We would love to get there. So.
Well, if it ever happens, when it happens, let me know, and I'm gonna haul ass to that show.
Absolutely. Sure. Right now, out of curiosity, and I mean this in like the best-hearted kind of way, what's the hate ratio like in Connecticut? Like, what's that like? Like, where you're like all like almost everybody's back down to being like okay with each other, or like, you know, go F yourself off the charts yet? Like, that
depends on where you're from in Connecticut, because some places are like, oh, go fuck yourself, and some are like, oh, you're all good here. But from all the venues I've been to, all of them are really welcoming. So I could definitely.
Be like, oh no, they might speak French and shit, right? Like,
oh no, they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't say that stuff.
Cool, because if they hear him talk for like 5 minutes, they'll just be like, "It's drummer." So like, it's just.
Do you think you talk any better?
No, but at least I can imitate any accent and get away with it. So.
I got to go to Canada because there's actually quite a few bands I've worked with who I want to see. Let's see. There's Arrival of Autumn. Let's see. Lane Canthro, Traveler, Trope. Like a lot of rock and metal bands are from Canada. And I'm like, I have to go to fucking Canada. I need to.
For sure.
Yeah. I've worked with like 10 people from Canada and I really want to like see them live. So I got to figure out a time to go to Canada.
Well, come over.
Yeah.
I gotta make sure my 30-year-old buddy pickup can do the drive.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Perfect season for that.
Yeah.
So I would maybe wait till the spring.
Probably.
15th of July.
Yeah. If you'd like your truck to see 31, we recommend like maybe mid-May, just for safety precautions.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And like that's not even for snow. That's just like, I don't know what the fuck happened with the rain and the wind and stuff like that, but it was not good. If there's like rust, it'll just like find a way in and take the rest.
No.
Yeah, it's like, oh, goodbye.
If you come in winter, just don't come in February. It's terrible.
That's the best.
It's the coldest.
No, that's the best. That's the driest.
It's still the coldest.
I'll make sure to check the weather first.
Yeah, exactly.
It gets in there. It's just like,
man, but yeah, I have to make a trip up to Canada. I need to. Because like I said before, a lot of the acts I get here are Canadian based. So it's nice to be able to see them. Like, funny thing is, I barely worked with anyone who actually lived near my state or is in my state. Most of it's worldwide.
Yeah.
Like, let's see, Brazil, Poland, Netherlands, Norway, Canada. A lot of it's all over the place. I had one from Australia, but it didn't happen because, okay, this is a funny story. They want to do it at like 8 p.m. their time, which is 3 a.m. for me. So I set my alarm for 3 a.m. I wake up, them, oh yeah, we're going to push you off. I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding. I woke up at 3 a.m. This all happened last second. I'm like, come on. This is and think about my mind. Once I'm awake, I can't go back to bed. So I was up for like almost 14 hours that day. I'm just like, I hate you guys so much. I'd never rescheduled with them. I'm like, nope, I can't.
Wouldn't have been.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
That
really
was
not cool.
probably the first time and only time I ever ran into assholes when doing this.
Well,
Pretty
there you
good
go.
record. One time. Pretty good record.
You're lucky. Because for us, it's like we're like 10 and 10 right now.
Damn.
See, oh, dude, there's some special cases out there. You find some, right? Like you just
We don't even
Yep.
need to.
like you just. Well, I mean. See, I would know. I can smell my own, but at least I'm a helpful asshole. So
Exactly. That's how I am too sometimes. Like I can be an asshole when I need to be, but I'm just usually pretty helpful when everything else hits the fan. This has been a lot of fun.
dude, this has been great. Thank you very much.
Amazing, man.
Dude, this has been like a year and a half plus of me wanting this to happen. Because like I said, I've been a huge fan since Vultures. And I'm just like, finally. So part of me it was trying to hold back a lot of the excitement because even though I'm not professional by any means, I try to make these at least somewhat me not getting too excited because I feel like that would ruin it. But
No,
honestly,
it was a fine interview, man. I mean, you're doing a fantastic
thank you. Because honestly, I went into this blind. I had no interviewing skills. I never took a class on it. I just said, fuck it, I'm gonna do it. Because I just wanted to give back. And I'm just like, let's see how it goes. Did some research, look at what to ask, and I just went into it blind. And I have no regrets.
Yeah.
No, I guess sometimes just balls.
Yep.
One advice I gave somebody because I'm also in the culinary industry.
Exactly.
I gave advice to somebody. Eh?
You have to,
I told somebody that like I asked them, I'm like, can you go to Walmart and buy experience? And they're like, no. I'm like, okay, so if you can't buy experience, just experience it and learn from that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and what you're doing, coming out raw with no backing, no history of any interviewing, research or whatever, and you're just gunning it out and just doing what you want to do. Dude, you're gaining all kinds of experience that people wait to get because they want to go through the courses and get ready. You're diving nose first, man. You're doing it the hard way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which the result is going to give you a lot more exposure and a lot more confidence in yourself to continue doing it and making better fucking shows, man.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I've had some pretty good groups on my show, like I said, Arrival of Autumn. They're signed under Nuclear Blast. Like they're under a pretty big label, and they were my first episode. I'm like, oh shit! And I've been going gung ho ever since.
Excellent, man. That's so good. That's so cool.
It's good, man.
Honestly, just doing this alone has been a dream for me, and I couldn't be happier with the result. Because even if I help bands get that one new listener, that makes me feel accomplished.
Thank you for that.
Well, thanks, man.
Really
That's yeah, man. It's all a reciprocation, man. Like it's all. Like I said, like that 3 minutes somebody's gonna take to just go like, okay, like, follow, subscribe, stream, yada yada. Like, 3 minutes every platform, once. You're hooking us up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's wonderful, man. Thank you very much.
I think we have to start something like a toilet boil stickers so people can think about you when you go to the toilet. They could spend 10 minutes like doing your promo and stuff. That'd be great.
All the toilet drains and
Or something.
So we're gonna write a new song for the next album. Is that what we're doing?
oh, flush it.
You're the first to hear this.
The power of the flush.
This has made my night. Oh my goodness.
That's
This is great. Thank you guys.
That's how it starts.
Right. The album is going to be called The X-Lax Files. Leaking soon.
Ooh. That's so good. Write that down, bro.
Yeah, write it down, man.
We're gonna forget it. Come on.
But anyway,
No, you won't. I have the footage. You will not forget. I will not allow you to forget.
That's true.
Chief,
That's true.
Chief, you think this is awkward, man? Wait till you see the music video coming for Ego Trip. You should be like, okay.
I look forward to it.
That's the and if you have any inclination of going like, what the f is wrong with these guys? The first answer is a lot. Secondly, that was the plan.
Well, hey, when that's the plan, what can go wrong, right?
Exactly.
All right, I'm gonna wrap things up here.
Fine.
Thank you guys again for being with me here tonight. This has been a dream come true for me personally, and I look forward to that music video and everything else that's next to come.
A pleasure, man.
Well, we'll talk to you about
so much, man.
Next song. We'll talk to you then too, man.
Sounds good to me. I always love having guests back on.
We're more than happy to
For
come
sure.
back to.
Take care, man.
Take care, Zach.
Take care.